Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I'm going to talk about what I read in the month of May. So let us see here. So to start with, I read these three books by Susan Bench. The Fairy Tale Girl, Martha's Vineyard, Isle of Dreams, and A Fine Romance, Falling in Love with the English Countryside. So, I already did a full review of these and I will link to that below, but to put it in short, The Fairy Tale Girl describes the first part of Susan Branch's life, growing up, falling in love, getting married, and then having her marriage falling apart and wondering what she's going to do next. Martha's Vineyard is how she ended up going on a vacation there, ended up moving there, making a life there, becoming an author there, and an artist, and yeah. And this one is from 2012, I believe, when she and her husband went on a trip to England for 2 months. Amazing. Makes me want to go there so much. Quite interesting. I couldn't put them down. And I also already did a Tolkien talk on this one, Baron and Luthien. Probably my favorite of all of Tolkien's great stories, if you're talking about the Silmarillion part. Oh, well, we'll have to have the whole debate about what is my absolute favorite Tolkien. But of the three great stories in the Silmarillion, this one is probably my favorite. So, there's that. And I did a full review of that, so I will link down there. But wait, there is more. So, seems that I am missing something in my stack, so we will just start here and move on. Oh, I already did a full review of this one as well, Dr. Thorne. I read the last 150 pages in one evening because I couldn't stop. Oh, really loving these Chronicles of Barsetshire and looking forward to continuing on with the series. This means I am halfway through. I did a full review of that as well, so I will link that below. And I also did Dorothy Sayers, The Unpleasantness at the Bellona Club. Thinking I would do Strong Poison, but I forgot this one comes first. So, it all starts at the Bellona club that our hero, Lord Peter Wimsey, frequents. He shows up on one day, actually it's Armistice Day, and since lots of veterans are members of this club, it's a pretty big deal there. And so he goes there, meets some friends there. In particular, a young friend who he's a bit down on his luck. The war did not treat him well, as some. And lo and behold, when they go over to say hi to this friend's grandfather, granted he is, it says here, 90 years old, General Fentiman is his name, they find him dead. which in and of itself would not be the most alarming thing. After all, like I said, he's 90 years old. Wouldn't be surprising if at that age someone is worse for wear, especially if it's known to have heart problems. But the problem is this. Uh, they, the old general had was it a sister or a niece? I forget the exact family relations. But anyway, she married a family considered beneath her. And so they got mad at her, wouldn't have anything to do with her for the longest time. But the thing is, her husband might not have had the title, but he did get money. And so she has a lot of money to give. And there are two options. A niece, I think it's from her husband's side of the family, might be a great niece or some such thing, who has been a companion and been very helpful to her. Or the other option are her two great nephews, General Fentiman's two grandsons. But everything depends on whether she died first or whether the general died first. And there is a lot of question about that because it turns out she died around the same time. And so Lord Peter starts looking into things, and the more he looks, the more irregularities he finds. So there is that. Let's see, I also finished several other things. This one I've been working on a while. Call Us What We Carry by Amanda Gorman, which includes the poem that she read for President Biden's inauguration. Totally worth it just for that poem being in here. It's interesting. She has poems on a wide variety of subjects, some related to the pandemic, some related to the experience of African Americans, some related to other experiences, and yet in all of them there's a note of hope in them. So I'm glad I read it. Have a few definite favorites in here I'll want to be coming back to for sure. I also read Aggressively Happy, A Realist Guide to Believing in the Goodness of Life by Joy Marie Clarkson. And a good way of thinking of this is the epigraph that it has here. It's by Wendell Berry from his manifesto, The Mad Farmers Liberation Front. Be joyful though you have considered all the facts. I guess what it comes down to is that not that we should deny the hard parts of life or anything like that, but it would be equally false to deny the good parts of life, and there's no reason not to enjoy them, as not enjoying them won't help anyone who is struggling right now. And I love some of these chapters that she has. Some of them are ones you would expect. Some of them are quite amusing. I especially like Blounderwell, as in, you have no idea what you're doing, but you're just going to do the best you can anyway. And maybe it looks messy, but that's okay. And be more like Mr. Collins. Yes, Mr. Collins from Pride and Prejudice. Yes, he is annoying. Yes, he certainly was not right for Lizzie Bennet. Can't blame her for saying no to him. But he does have some admirable qualities, believe it or not. And Joy goes through all of those. So quite enjoyed this. I may actually read this again. Each chapter at the end has three suggestions, something you can read, something you can view or watch, and something you can listen to related to that chapter, and a few questions to think about. Very happy that I read that. I also read A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. It really makes you think about the position women have had in history. I'm not sure the way she portrays it is 100% accurate, but it's certainly also inaccurate the way it has been portrayed in the past, with so few women being prominent until relatively recently, with, of course, the rare exception of the occasional royals and nobles, with a few nuns and increases perhaps thrown in as well. And it really is true. Anyone who wants to write really does need a bit of space and security to be able to do so. And I also read Books and Libraries, a bunch of poems. This is the Everyman's Library Pocket Poets, and lots of fun poems in here. Here's an interesting one by S.T. Coleridge. It's from 7 lectures on Shakespeare and Milton. And this is from the second lecture, apparently. Readers may be divided into 4 classes. Sponges, who absorb all they read and return it nearly in the same state, only a little dirtied. Sand glasses, who retain nothing and are content to get through a book for the sake of getting through the time. Strain bags, who retain merely the dregs of what they read. Mogul diamonds, equally rare and valuable, who profit by what they read and enable others to profit by it also. I would love to say I am number 4, but I'm probably mostly number 1 most of the time. I also read All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot. This is the first book in his stories, semi-autobiographical, of him being a vet in a Yorkshire town with a huge agricultural practice. So yes, there's plenty of being woken up at 2 in the morning to assist a cow having a bad birth or things like that. But beautiful descriptions of the country, great descriptions of the animals, equally great descriptions of some of their owners, some of them they may be slightly different from what you may be used to since we're all citified, but taking that into account, you've met some of these people before, for both the good and the bad, but overall, really, it is mostly good. Uh, very, very interesting. And I must say, two of the most interesting of those characters are the head vet, who he becomes an assistant to at the beginning of this book as his first formal position. Quite the character, and as much of a character is his younger brother, who is studying to be a vet, sort of. Oh, yeah. Not sure if how much work Tristan actually does, but that is another story. Anyway, quite enjoyed reading that. And let's look at my list to make sure I did not miss anything. Oh, da 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 da. Um, yeah, yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. So, great reading month. Took a bit of an unexpected turn with all that Susan Branch, but that's okay. We like being flexible with our reading. So I hope your June reading was equally good, and love to hear if you've read any of these books or what your June reading was like. And thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading!